I really did not think I would have this much fun doing a series on Halloween. Like I really didn't think that digging into this thing called Halloween could expose some incredible things within you and within me. Like I had no idea. I thought we'd kind of talk about, Halloween, the myths, the spooky, the whatever, da-da-da-da. I thought we'd kind of go down that road, maybe laugh at a couple things, maybe get a little spooked out. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't realize going into this series the depths at which we can take this. And to me, it's just a reminder, like it's so motivating and inspiring, right? It's a reminder that all aspects of this thing called life have layers, right? They have layers. And if we could start peeling back the layers on life, we can start peeling back layers on self. And there's nothing more fun, right? Like there's whole channels around like pimple poppers and people like my wife's like, let me get it, right? She sees something like we're scratching off skin cells. Like we as a humanity, we love, right? Clearing the layers off of ourselves, right? We love it. And so I just had no idea going into this week's series that this was going to be such a fun journey. I've got an incredible episode ready for you today, right here on #RiseAndGrind. Thanks for being here. We're going to have some fun.
Good morning and welcome to #RiseAndGrind. I am your host, Glenn Lundy. I am a husband to 1, a father to 8, and the creator of what is going to be the #1 most watched morning show in the world. It is 5:30 a.m. and I hope that you are ready to rise and grind.
Hey, good morning. How are you, my friend? Dude, today is I know the answer to this question. I do, but I'm just trying to do a million things at the same time. Today is Tuesday. That's right. Today is Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. That's Taco Tuesday. For those of you that don't know, we call it Taco Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. And what's crazy is today is the very first and the very last time it'll ever be Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. So I want to make sure we make the absolute most. And I do mean the absolute most of this absolutely incredible day. Today is also 784 days until my 50th birthday. That's right, 784 days until I turn the big 50. And I know you probably, what's up, Russell Hill? I know you have a lot of friends in your life, and you probably have some people in your life that are like, hey, my birthday's in a month, my birthday's in a week, or I know some people have like birthday weeks and so on and so forth. And you're like, this is the first guy ever that I've heard talking about a birthday 784 days from now. And I can understand that you're probably correct. Most people probably don't count down their days years ahead. However, the difference is I have a very, 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 very large goal, a very, very, very important thing that I need to achieve by my 50th birthday. It's a promise that I've made to my wife and to my kids. And so I remind myself every single day that clock is ticking and that the time is running out on me. I got 784 days to fulfill the obligation and the promise that I made to my wife and to my children. So every day I'm counting it down. 784 days until my 50th birthday. Today is also 64 days until 2026. Can you believe that? 64 days until 2026. That's all you got left, man. 64 days. That's it. That's all that's left in 2025 is 64 days. And here's why that's really, really, really important. It actually takes 67 days before something becomes easier to do than to not do. So any habits you need to break or any habits you need to start, if you want to wait until New Year's, to do your resolution, here's what will happen. You'll start on New Year's, and even if you succeed, it's going to take you until middle or late March before that new habit really sets in. Whereas if you start today, you're going to run into the new year unrecognizable. We are actually in a 90-day unrecognizable challenge. It's been incredible for me. I've been doing two things, focusing on putting God first and putting family, God and family, my kids specifically, as a priority in front of everything else. I've always been a family man. I'm a husband to one. I'm a father to nine. But admittedly, if you look at my calendar, or used to look at my calendar, you would see that business definitely came first, and I would build my relationships around my work and so on and so forth, not in a negative way, but just not in the ideal way. And so for me, I'm trying to create this new habit of putting God and family, actually prioritizing God and family in my time schedule, in my daily. And so when I go into 2026, that will be an unrecognizable piece for me. I've got a lot of people that are running with me in the 90-day challenge. It's been super, super, super fun. But we have 64 days left until 2026. Now, here's what's also crazy about that. I don't know if you guys remember, there's a guy named Ray Bradbury. Ray Bradbury was a science fiction author. He wrote a whole lot of different books and short films and so on and so forth. And Ray Bradbury actually wrote a short story specifically about the year 2026. And in that book, it's kind of a dark book, but it talks about a global nuclear war that launches in April of 2026. But in that global nuclear war, human beings leave planet Earth and they colonize Mars. There's actually a station on Mars that's been there for a long time, and the humans go and they colonize Mars. And in that book and in that story, there's everything from flying cars to human beings having telepathy and the ability to communicate without words. There's talk of aliens and other species from other planets. It's fascinating. In the 80s and the 90s, which is when I was a baby, right? In the 80s and the 90s, everything that was written about the future was kind of written like 50 years from now, right? 50 years, I'm getting the messages. Do me a favor, tag your friends. Facebook's doing its thing, and there are people that are trying to join the feed that can't find it. So if you would, please, those of you that are here live, go ahead and tag your friends, hit that share button, help people find the feed. I would greatly appreciate it. So that's kind of how sci-fi works, right? When you think about science fiction, you want to make it not too far ahead where people cannot relate or connect with it in the future, but you want it to be far enough ahead to where people could realistically believe like, oh yeah, that could happen, right? And so 50 years is kind of like the magical number. 50 years from now, we can all process and think, 50 years from now. And at the same time, 50 years from now is like long enough to go, oh yeah, I've seen how much technology has changed in the last 50 days. It could definitely change that much over the next 50 days, right? So fascinating. 2026, when I was a kid, we're now living, for me, I'm now living in the years that were the years of sci-fi when I was a kid. Does that make sense? Pretty crazy. And even though things have changed dramatically, maybe we don't have necessarily the flying cars or the telepathy or the aliens. I mean, maybe we do, and I'm just not paying attention, but we might not have the flying cars and the aliens and all of those things. That might not be the case. But things have changed radically. And at the same time, there are some things that have absolutely stayed the same. For example, some of the traditions and some of the holidays that we celebrate, like the one that's coming up this Friday, Halloween 2025. So when it comes to Halloween, I do have a question for you this morning. Do you love it or nah? Do you love it or nah? Because there's usually two sides to this. Some people love the idea of Halloween. They lean right in. And then there's other people that are like, hell to the nah. I ain't messing with all them demons and goblins and goobly gooks and so on and so forth. I guess there's some people that might be a little bit in the middle. I'm kind of a in the middle guy. Had a conversation with a good friend of mine yesterday, and she reminded me that there is power and strength in that too, right? But I'm curious, are you a Halloween person or are you not? Because we're going to be diving into it. We started this series yesterday called Spooky Good. And we're going to continue to dive in, lift things up as far as lift up rocks, dig underneath, do a little bit of research, understand the historic aspects of the holiday, and also try to understand the psychology kind of behind it, and maybe the purpose, and why has this tradition been around for such a long time, right? I'm reading in the chat, Malika's like, it's a nope. Pastor Jeff's like, it's a no. Marilyn Wilkins like, yep, I love it. And Kimberly Hatfield's like, not at all. Russell Hill's like, not really, but I like, my grandkids love it, right? Don Sankey's like, I'm a take it or leave it kind of guy. It could go either way, right? I understand. So we're going to dive in a little bit more today, and I think you're going to enjoy today's episode of Hashtag Rise and Grind. Before we go too far, though, you know what we got to do on this show. Oh, wait. Do I want that one? Hi, Liza. Is this one fast enough to do some dancing? No, probably not. How about this one? Nope. Nope, this one might be fast enough. Yeah! Let's go. For those of you that know, and those of you that don't know, this is the part of the show where I need you to hit that share button. That's right. I need you to hit that share button. Because I believe if we can change the way people start their day, it'll make a massive impact on this planet. Let's go. This is the part of the show also where we got to get these bodies in motion. Come on. An object in motion stays in motion. An object at rest stays at rest. If you're out working out right now, pick up the pace, man. Maybe you're on a run. Pick up the pace a little bit. Let's go, Spencer Nicholson. Right? That's what we got to do. Let's go. Let's get that energy flowing. Let's get the body moving. Let's get pumping. This is also the part of the show where I want to say good morning to you, and I want you to say good morning to me. Whether you're watching this show live or you're watching on replay, please say what's up, and I will say what's up back. Can you guys hear my voice over the music? Otherwise, I will turn it off in the midst of saying good morning to all of you. But I do want to make sure to say good morning because I so appreciate all of you being here. I really do. I appreciate every single one of you. All right, so Marilyn Wilkin, good morning. Thank you for being here this morning. I appreciate it. We've got Bella Rigby. Thanks for being here this morning. Great to see you. Mr. Don Sankey. With all due respect, Glenn, it's not a holiday. The research is clear on that. Hey, Sharon Shannon, I feel you. We're digging into all of that, so I appreciate that for sure. I've also got Tosh Queen really trying to dance to this tune. Mike Larkin says, good morning. Great to see you, Mike Larkin. Pastor Jeff Moffitt is in the building. What's up, Pastor Jeff? We got Rodney Rock Hatfield in here. Mary Lynn says she can hear me fine, so thank you for that. That's great. Trisha Rue is in the building this morning. Amy Kennedy is here this morning. Ramon Ray says the music is a bit loud, and I am not surprised that Ramon Ray would say that this morning. That does not surprise me one bit. Malika, good morning. Thank you for being here, Malika. I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate you. Drop good mornings. Drop the good mornings. Let me know you're here. Even if you're watching on replay, Even if you're on replay, make sure to let me know that you stopped by. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Trevor Houston, what's up, my man? Thanks for being here today. Good to see you. I know you've been doing some big things on social lately, too. Keep up the great work, man. Russell Hill, been a bit. What's up? I sure have missed you, too, buddy. Great to see you. Michelle Gravely is in the building. Thanks for being here, Michelle. Tony Thorstad, did I say what's up to you? I hope I did. Sarah Green, thank you for being here this morning. Scott Simons with the fist bump. Thanks, Scott Simons. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Patricia Frudenberg is in the building as well. Tony Schmidt is up in here. That's funny. Tony Schmidt is in the building. Look, and so many more. Thank you so much for joining me today here on #RiseAndGrind, where we are diving into discovering and learning more about this thing called Halloween. We are digging in and figuring out, where did it come from? Why is it important? Is it important? What is the draw? Why has it lasted for as long as it lasted? And just really digging in, right? Looking at it from the other side. And so we're going to keep going on that. Before we do, real quick, my name is Glenn Lundy, husband to 1, father to 9. If we haven't met before, great to meet you. I am an author. I wrote a book called The Legacy Titles, 12 Proven Principles to Grow Your Business 800%. I also wrote a book called The Morning 5, 5 Simple Steps to an Extraordinary Life. You can download The Morning 5 at themorning5.com for free if you'd like. The Legacy Titles, you can get that on Amazon. Just go to look up The Legacy Titles, 12 Proven Principles, Scale Your Dealership, or Scale Your Business 800%. You're welcome to do that as well. I'm also the host of this show, #RiseAndGrind, daily morning show, bringing you motivation, education, and inspiration 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And I'm the owner at the 800% Elite Automotive Club training and consulting company that works with owners and general managers of car dealerships all over the United States of America. I'm also an incredibly curious person. I am. I'm so curious. I'm curious about the things that I like. I'm curious about the things that I don't like. I'm curious about people that look like me, walk like me, and talk like me. And I'm curious about people that don't look like me, walk like me, and talk like me. So when it comes to, thanks, Dustin Williams. So when it comes to this thing called Halloween, I'm kind of that meh guy where, I could totally go without it. And at the same time, I know my kids have a little bit of fun with it. My wife is like a full-on out. She just allows us to participate at the minimum level, for the kids' sake. That's my wife. Did I say 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Liza? Is that what I said? I did not mean to say it. 5:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you. I thought I said 5:30. Maybe I said 8:30. But I've been doing a little research on it this week, and it's kind of been fascinating. Yesterday, we kind of talked about the masks, right? And how that relates metaphorically to us in our lives, putting on these masks. The mask of I'm fine. The mask of I'm something that I'm not, so on and so forth, right? And how wearing those masks can associate and kind of align with the idea of Halloween. And on Halloween, thanks, Liza, on Halloween, people showing or sharing, exploring, dabbling, dancing with the parts of themselves that they normally keep behind the mask. Today, I want to go a little bit into the darkness, the dark side of Halloween, right? This is the holiday where, even though it's cold in many parts of the world, we will send people out, send our children out in the cold, in the dark, to go knock on strangers' doors, right? We don't do this in the summer when it's warm. We don't do it in the summer when it's light. We do this in the fall / leaning into the winter when it's dark and cool. And so darkness, I think we can all agree, is inlaid with, associated with, connected with Halloween. And what's interesting is darkness is typically the one thing we all try to avoid. I think everybody across the board, from the time that you're a little human to the time that you get older, right? We all try to avoid darkness. Like I can remember being a kid and having to take, the trash out or take the trash to the curb. And I can remember it being dark out and, I'm brave and I'm going to go ahead and take the trash out. And so I go out the door and I'm like brave, but it's dark outside. And in that darkness, I start to get a little, and so I throw the trash and all of a sudden I'm sprinting back to the front door. I'm sprinting back to the light. Have any of you ever experienced that? Right? You're out there in the dark and you're telling yourself, there ain't nothing to be afraid of out here, man. It's just a little bit of darkness, bro. It's all good, dude. And then all of a sudden you just have that moment, right? And you're like, it's a sprint, right? Back to the door. I've had many moments like that. Many moments in my life. So we all try to avoid the darkness. I think that is something we can probably agree and align on. When we walk down through our houses, we flip on the light switches as we go from room to room, right? My kids sleep with night lights. We all try to avoid the dark. And yet, every October, interestingly enough, right? Every October, we actually have people that pay money to walk through haunted houses. Every year, we have people that pay money to watch horror films and to decorate their homes with skeletons and ghosts, right? So why is that? It's an important question, right? What is it about fear that pulls us in?
Fried trail, fried trail.
Hold on.
So I've been asking myself that question, right? What is it about the darkness, right? Bring that down. What is it about fear that pulls us in? So I've been asking that question this week, and as I dig in a little bit further, right, I think we can all agree there's something about the darkness that we want to avoid. But maybe if we just think about it a little bit, maybe it's not really darkness that we are afraid of. You ever think about that? Maybe it's not darkness that we're afraid of. Maybe it's what we find out about ourselves in the darkness. Because see, when we sit in the darkness, the awareness of ourselves all of a sudden becomes heightened, right? When we don't have the things to look at, when we don't have distractions, when we don't have all of these things going on around us, all of a sudden, all that's left is ourselves. I find it really, really interesting that when you're scared, right? When you're scared, your heart starts pounding, your pupils dilate, right? Your brain, from way back in the caveman days, your brain starts to release adrenaline, right? Starts to release adrenaline, and that rush of adrenaline, right? It's nature's way of saying, hey, pay attention. Like something is about to happen. You see, fear focuses us. Fear sharpens us. Fear, by design, makes us feel alive. And you see, this is why horror movies exist. This is why ghost stories have thrived for years and years and years and years. Like, we want to dance with fear. We as humans want to dance with fear because of the biological reaction in it. We want to dance with it, but only if we get to lead the dance. Right? We'll dance with it, but only if we get to lead the dance. This is why we go out and do things like riding on roller coasters, right? Jumping out of airplanes, right? Skydiving, all of those things, right? These extreme Red Bull, dirt bike riders and all of this stuff, right? It's us dancing with fear so that we can reach that heightened state of laser focus and ultimately get to experience life above a mundane level. Does that make sense? You see, in life, there's a quote here that says, everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. George Adair said that once. And I think it's interesting because in life, it's not fear that holds us back. If you really think about it, it's not the fear itself that holds us back. It's running from the fear. That's what holds us back, right? Because every dream you have ever had sits just past the edge of your comfort zone. If you think about it, every dream that you've had in business sits just past your comfort zone. Every dream that you've had when it comes to a relationship sits just past your comfort zone. Every dream that you've had when it comes to finances, when it comes to fitness, when it comes to faith, every dream that you've ever had sits just past your comfort zone. And so I think naturally, we want to dance with fear because it's right on the edge of our comfort zone, but only if we can take the lead. For centuries, people have filled the darkness, right? If you think back before electricity and all that stuff, for centuries, people have filled the darkness with stories. Stories of the witches in the woods, stories of the monsters under the bed, stories of the spirits that roam the night. And what's interesting is the truth about these stories is these weren't myths about evil. They were actually warnings that adults would give to children. They were warnings about an imbalance in good and evil. They were warnings about, hey, don't forget who you are and which side of this thing called life you need to stay on. Like, as parents, we've always tried our best to do what we can for our children to guide them in a positive way that's actually, that's going to behoove them later in life. I'm doing with my kids all of the time. I'm trying to teach them the lessons that are going to point them on a path of good, not a path of evil. And so these early stories of the witches in the woods, the monster on the beds, all of these things, they were designed to help move the next generation of humanity towards good and not evil. You see, if you really start to dig in a little bit, you're going to find that every myth, every story, all of these things, every myth has a message. And the message is simple. It's that the monster isn't out there, but the monster's actually in here. See, the monsters exist inside of us more than they exist outside of us. Don't get me wrong. There's some monsters out there, but those aren't the ones you should be afraid of. The monster you should be afraid of is the monster inside. The part of you that stops believing. The part of you that hides from the unknown, from the uncomfortable. The part of you that chooses safety over growth. And see, what's interesting is the moment we shine a light on all of that, we shine a light on those fears, we shine a light on those feelings of less than, we shine a light on those non-beliefs. Like the moment we shine a light on it, it disappears, man. It disappears. Eleanor Roosevelt, I didn't get to pull this quote up to put it on the screen, but Eleanor Roosevelt, she said, "It is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness." It's better to bring it to the light. Like, let's actually look at it. Let's analyze. Why do I have this fear? Why do I have this non-belief? Why am I telling myself these things? Why do I have monsters inside? Let's shine a candle on it rather than just sit there and sit in it. You see, it's fascinating because if you think about it like on the side of like faith, right? Believing in yourself and believing in something more. If you think about it on the side of faith, faith isn't built in the light. Faith is built in the dark. You realize that? Like when you can't see a way forward, when the answers don't make sense, when life feels uncertain, that's where your faith grows roots. That's where your faith grows roots. Just look at the story of Jesus. Like the faith, the moment that really like changed, transformed everything is when everybody thought he was dead. You see, I'm starting to understand and I'm starting to think that Halloween at its core is reminding us, it's here to remind us that the darkness isn't an ending, the darkness is a doorway. You see, light only has meaning because darkness exists. You cannot have resurrection without a tomb. You cannot have courage without fear. And you cannot know who you are until you've faced what you are not. Barbara Johnson said, "Faith is seeing light with your heart when all your eyes see is darkness." So maybe, just maybe, and this is just a hypothesis I'm coming up with, maybe, just maybe, that's why the darkness calls to us. Maybe the darkness calls to us not to scare us, but to remind us that there's more to see. When we stop running from the dark, when we start finding the light that was ours all along, the light that existed inside of us, not the light on the outside where we flip the switch, but the light on the inside that we spark through discipline and grit and belief. Maybe that's the real message. Maybe. So listen, this season, don't run from the dark. Instead, let's learn to dance with it. Does that sound fair? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. We'll do it all over again right here on #RiseAndGrind. Have a great day.